What's up everyone, Coach Gabriel Shaw, MoveSpace.com, here today to share with you a quick 15-minute myofascial release series that you can do at home while you're watching TV or hanging out with the family. I'm going to do it right along with you, relaxing in our living room here. We're going to do 6 spots for 2 minutes each. Grab your equipment, grab a spot on the floor, and join me. So I have these 3 things which you may or may not use, and all the exercises that we're doing can be done with multiple different pieces of equipment, okay? So I'm gonna have, first of all, a foam roller. This is a light color. Usually as they get darker in color, they get harder in surface. This is a really good color or softness for a beginner to myofascial release, or just someone who doesn't feel like they need that much intensity. Sometimes if I want to get something a little bit more intense, I'll move to the ball, which can be a little bit more precise, which can hit that knot a little bit more targeted, and that can be a little bit more intense, but also this is a little bit harder. Notice it's also a little bit darker in color. Some spots you can really only get to for a ball, and for that I go to the lacrosse ball. This is about $4 or $5 at your local sporting goods store. But you can use a tennis ball too if you're a beginner or not used to the sensation of myofascial release. So let's get started. The first spot that I'm going to release is my quads. So for many of us, we're very overactive on the front side of our body. If you can just think about the sitting position as kind of a shortened quad position. So go ahead and grab your roller or your ball and let's go on the floor. Whichever leg I'm going to roll, I'm going to go ahead and lie right on top of that roller. And then what I can do with this other leg is bring my knee out to the side, so that way I can take some of my weight off my hands, so in my core, and also regulate how much weight is on my leg. So I can just relax here just like this. You can roll anywhere from the knee all the way up to the hip, okay? We really don't see the reason to roll on bones, so in general we avoid bones. The reason to roll is to relax by putting pressure into that muscle belly. If I turn towards you, you can see the position of my knee and my leg. Just find a place and settle down on it, and we'll go ahead and start for 2 minutes. Maybe roll and feel all the way up to your hip. Roll and feel very, very slowly. Roll and feel all the way down to your knee. And feel how that feels, and the best advice is to follow the knots. So you should be able to feel those knots in your muscle where your muscle belly feels very tight, and you should be able to feel when you relax on those and do your breathing that the muscle almost feels like it's separating, and that's a good sign you can move on to another knot. We're going to do this for 1 more minute. Go ahead and just keep relaxing on that roller, and I'll show you what we're trying to do to our muscles. Okay, so you can see right here what we're trying to do to our muscle. This is a very good depiction of how muscles are structured. You can sort of imagine all the sarcomeres together, sort of like a net. And some of those nets collect fascial adhesions or just muscle adhesions, which we call knots. And what we're trying to do with that foam roller is just roll out those knots and you relax the muscle. What stimulates the Golgi tendon organ to relax those knots is consistent, sustained pressure. So just let the muscle relax on the roller, keep the pressure consistent, and try to relax as much as you can using our deep breathing. So just try to imagine what direction the muscle lies, and we're just going to roll out in that direction. So for our quadriceps, for example, it's this way. And try to relax that muscle by keeping that nice constant pressure. Let's go ahead and switch. I'm going to come back down with you. Go ahead and switch to your other quad. And coming down to our other side, just relaxing on that roller. I'm going to find where I feel a knot. Okay, I feel right there. And then I'm just going to try to relax as much as I can and breathe. Try to keep that pressure consistent. And we're here for 2 minutes. Try to keep that pressure consistent. Try to keep your breathing and try to relax around that muscle. Try to use whatever support systems, whatever you need to, so that you can relax as much as possible onto that roller. If you feel it gets a release, then you can just move a little bit. Maybe I'm going to move down my roller. One more minute. So if you're ready to do myofascial release, it's a great time. You can be hanging out with kids, you can be watching a show, you can be doing your homework, anything like that, answering emails, but mostly what we want to do is just relax. Chase those knots and then put pressure and then breathe. Consistent pressure and relax. Very good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to flip over and we're going to do our hamstrings. This one, if you have a roller, can be done 2 at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit on the roller and let my legs be outstretched. And we're going to go for 2 minutes. Here you can see what I'm doing is I'm pushing myself up with my hands, but I'm not pushing myself up off the ground. I'm pushing myself forward. The more you roll forward, the more weight you go down in that roller. And you really should feel a little awakening up of these hamstrings. So some people say that hamstrings get stuck long because of our sitting position, but really the idea is the same as what we saw in the diagram, where all those muscles get knots, and what we just want to do is release or put pressure on that muscle so it releases those knots, just from lack of movement or not moving enough or not doing a lot of release work in the past. So release work is not the same as stretching, by the way, so you can pull on those knots and not necessarily get them out. Release work would be more similar to massage or something like that. So muscles that aren't used to being used, like the hamstrings, need to be waken up, and that can be done through massage. So you can see I'm just relaxing, putting that constant pressure, but I really feel it on the back of the legs. If ever I want, I can just lean forward, or I can also try to straighten my legs, and that pushes down on that roller. "30 seconds. Try to get that release. You can position the roller so it's anywhere from your bum to your knee, and just rolling on the hamstring muscle. Feeling it very strong the closer we are to that insertion point on the pelvis, so right below our bum. Okay, good. So now I'm going to use my hip or my bum muscles themselves, which everybody knows about, which are your glutes. So we're going to do this again to help wake the muscle up, similar as what we did for the hamstring. Again, totally fine to use a ball or something like that. But if you have a roller, what I want you to do is I want you to sit back on the roller and try to find the angle of the roller that is parallel to your sacrum. So your sacrum shaped like this, so the roller should be slightly off to the side, slightly like this. And this is where you should feel, you can sit on it a little bit to the side, it's just like sitting on the side of a stool. And you should be able to feel where all those muscle insertion points are for our big glutes here, which are very important postural muscles. So we're just going to sit and relax on that roller. Here what you can do is you can take that knee down to the side if you want. So that's really going to loosen those muscles up so that you can really work in them. And then we can slide up and down the roller if you want, but again, mostly it comes back to that consistent pressure, but we do want to hit a variety of the side of our hip to the bottom of our bum. So I'm just going to go back and forth a little bit, very slow, keeping that pressure consistent. Breathing in and out through the nose. Follow those knots. So you can notice that the roller is parallel to my sacrum, which means slightly off to the side, and then I'm rolling. When I drop my knee down, I'm now rolling in the direction of my knee. So that's the direction I want to be rolling, forward and backward. And 30 more seconds. Find that knot, relax, breathe through your nose. Okay, and then we're going to switch to the other side. I'll show you how I switch, and then I'll turn around so you can see. I'm right here. I'm just going to switch to my other side and see how I turn my body a little bit. So now the roller is slightly off. Take this knee down, and now I'm rolling on the other side. Go ahead and start your rolling on the other side. And I'll turn. I'm dropping my knee down and just trying to support all my weight on this roller. Keep on going there. I'll just show if you have a ball, no problem, same thing. Same thing, I'm sitting on the ball, just like sitting on the side of a stool. I can take my knee down and then I can roll, gently rocking back and forth in the direction of my knee, or I can find a spot and just relax on that ball. One more minute. Thirty more seconds. Good, go ahead and come off that roller. And we'll do one more spot, which I'm gonna come back and grab my roller. Something like this will work, but or even bigger, or even think about a handle or a kettlebell will work too. I'm gonna use this roller and we're gonna go on the inside of our leg, our adductor group, okay? So I'm gonna put my inside of my leg on, the other leg is straight, and then I'm gonna turn my hips towards the ground. The more the hips are facing towards the ground, the more you're going to feel it. And then also you do want to roll closer to you. The closer you get that roller to you, the more those muscle attachment points there are, so you may feel it more, but feel free to experiment. Wherever you feel those knots, just try to relax on there. Keep those hips facing towards the ground. Breathing in and out of the nose and relaxing. And then feel free to move, keep chasing those knots. Thirty more seconds. Doing some deep breathing here and enjoying some of our last couple releases. and we'll just switch sides. So our adductor group, or the inside of our leg, is a very important muscle to do release because it's so active so much of the time. It doesn't get stretched or released very much. So it's really important to relax into this one. And remember to do our adductors. One more minute. You should be feeling that muscle separating and letting go. And when you do, you're moving on to another position. Following that strong sensation that tells you where the knot is. Follow those knots. And deep breath, and come off of that. Good, nice. So now we've done a few myofascial release positions or muscles for different areas around the legs. So hopefully your legs are starting to feel a little bit better. Now let's end with a couple more releases that often are specific areas that give people pain. Try these myofascial release locations and see if they make a difference if you struggle with hip pain. Okay, so that was a series of myofascial release for the hips. If you like this video and have more ideas for future videos that would help, please leave a comment below to let me know. If you are interested in more resources to help you move and feel better and own your practice at home, join us over at movespace.com. Stay healthy, stay connected.